Hi and welcome to my mate's Tupperware. I'm Mark and behind the camera we've got Liz.
Hi, thanks for joining us again.
And today we're featuring a new product for us, and it's the first time we're using it, and it is the Tupperware Microwave Pressure Cooker. Now this is going to allow us to cook our meal in the microwave in 30 minutes while keeping the moisture in the food, cooking it thoroughly and keeping all the great taste in there. Let's have a look at some of the features of the pressure cooker. First up, we've got a nice deep pan to cook in. Once we've got the lid on, there are markers to say where to put the lid on. You turn it around, put it in place. Once you've got the food in there, of course, snap lock it, put it in the microwave, cook your meal. Once your meal comes out, you put it on the bench here, and basically we've got our pressure timer here. Once that pops down, your meal is ready to serve, okay? So it's the same concept as your normal on the stove pressure cooker, but this one is in the microwave, a lot quicker and maintains the taste, and you've got all the safety features which I've just shown you. Locks in place both by turning the lid and its safety lock. Okay, let's look at our meal. Our meal today is fairly simple as in the amount of ingredients it takes. It just takes a bit of preparation time. And why it's good for us is Liz and I are watching the NFL playoffs today, so we can prepare some of our stuff, watch the game, come back inside, and we're ready for the next step. So let's start off. Red cabbage stuffed, okay? Stuffed red cabbage. These are our ingredients. First up, we've got a red cabbage. You could use a green cabbage if you want. It's the same flavour, same texture. It's going to work out great. From there, about 1.5 cups of rice. Liz and I use basmati rice because we like the flavour. A packet of meatloaf seasoning. You could use whatever your favourite meatloaf seasoning. For us, we're using German meatloaf seasoning. We've got some tomato sauce, which Liz and I grew in our garden. So that's what we made for our tomato sauce, and our 2 pounds of ground beef. Alright, if you want you can mix it up, use perhaps pork and beef. I would use beef myself, so that's why we've got. Now you make a sauce on the side, which we'll make today also, which is simply an onion, flour, heavy whipping cream and tomato juice. We're going to use 1/2 stick of butter also for that. So basically, the recipe takes a little preparation with just 2 items. The first one is we're going to cook the rice. We want that tender. If you don't have the rice tender when you mix it with the meat, it won't cook properly. So we want the rice tender, so we're going to cook that first. We're also going to cook the cabbage. The cabbage is nice and firm now. We could take off the leaves. The problem is going to be that it's not as flexible as we want it to be. So we need it to be flexible. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to start the preparation with the cabbage because I want to show you what to do with the cabbage. Okay, a nice sharp carving knife. All we're going to do is cut a cone shape all around the core of the cabbage. Now, we want to keep some of the cabbage core closer to the center because we need that firmness on the inside, because basically what we're going to do is peel the cabbage back, and the center parts are going to be what we need to hold the meat in place. So what I tend to do is cut like you just did, you see me do, which is a few slits, and make sure that it's starting to pull away just by not too much force, but just by doing that, okay? So what we're going to do, you can see now how I've pulled that away from the core itself on a couple of parts. We don't have to pull it all the way across. So what we're going to do now, we're going to cook the rice and the cabbage, and we're going to come back to you to have it all put together. Okay, welcome back. We've cooked our rice and that's ready to go. our cabbage is ready. We boiled it for about 10 minutes and we've let it cool. That's why it's easy for me to put my hands on. So what we're going to do, I've washed my hands, take them all bling off. Very important, take your rings off. We're dealing with the raw meat, as you can see. We've got our meatloaf seasoning. Remember, use your favourite. Mine is the German meatloaf seasoning, so that goes straight in. And we're going to eyeball the rice. I said we'd cook about a cup and a half. Well, I overdid that one, so let's just eyeball it in. It doesn't have to be a 50-50 measure, but you know, I like a bit of rice in there. If we put a good bit of rice in there, it saves, you know, we could of course have, what a lot of people do is have mashed potatoes on the side. Me, I prefer to put rice into my meat, because that way we've got a good mix to go onto the cabbage. So we're going to just mix that through. We want to mix it through so we've got a good mix of rice and meat, and the meatloaf seasoning especially. We want to mix it right through. Now, I'll just let you know one thing as this is mixing. With the meatloaf seasoning, you don't have to use meatloaf seasoning. You may have a favourite blend of spices that you like to use. I'm just making it a little bit easier so that we've got a good mix here, okay? So we've mixed this up pretty good now. I'm just going to give it a bit more of a turn, and then I'll show you what we've got mixed in here. Looks like the flavours it actually smells quite good already, and we haven't even started cooking the meat. Alright, yeah, that's a great mix. Have a look at that. You've got rice all the way through, you've got the spices all the way through, so that's a pretty good mix, okay? It's a little bit dry, feels dry, but that doesn't matter, because we're going to have a good mix of the fluids coming off the cabbage again. Now, the outer leaves of the cabbage are going to be a bit soft. So what I like to do, and this is what I would do in a slow cooker, is remove the outer leaves and just put those down on the bottom. That's nice and simple. Now, we're going to be careful with how we remove the leaves here, because we want them to hold their look how well that come off. I'll just show you that. Now, remember I said before we cut around the core of the cabbage? Well, this is where we're going to place the meat. Okay, let's grab our spoon, and we're going to make tight little packages. Here we go. Probably a little bit too much, but there we go. That's just the right amount. Now we put it into the core, or near the core, roll it once, over on the edge, and put it through. Now the secret now is that is where the cabbage joins, the edge of the cabbage. We want that put down into our cooker, okay? So where the edge of the cabbage is, we're going to put that down into the cooker. I'll show you that again, and then I'm going to make a whole heap and we'll come back. Okay, so we've got our cabbage. That was connected to the core. And let's have a look. We grab our spoon, maybe a little bit more than that one, because we've got good cabbage leaves, good size. So there we go. We stack it in, make sure it's nice and tight. One roll, tuck in the sides, and roll it. Once again, there's our join. Let's pack it in nice and tight. So we'll come back. I'm going to make a few more. You want to have a look there? All right. So I've got 2 in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some more. We're going to come back and we're going to show you how it's packed into the Tupperware pressure cooker for the microwave. And then we're going to put it in and start cooking. So I'm going to keep on going. We'll be back in a minute or two, okay? Okay, we've finished rolling our cabbage, and we've got our meat, and we've got it all put in. Now, the one thing I didn't think of, Liz, just pan in on that, one thing I didn't think of is the colour of our pressure cooker and the colour of our cabbage, purple on purple. So that may be a bit hard to see, but that's okay. So they're all tightly packed in there. Now we want them tightly packed in. For number one, it's going to assist the cooking of it. And number two, by having them tightly packed in, they're actually going to form a lot better. So when we pull them out, they'll pull out in one piece. I'll tell you something, when I was growing up, my dad used to make the cabbage rolls. That's where I got the basic recipe. And he used to tie up his cabbage rolls because he didn't pack them in tight enough. So I sort of look back at how Mum used to do it years and years ago, and of course she used to pack them in, make a whole lot more than what Dad did, but pack them in. So we've got all that. So now we've just got our homemade tomato sauce, and we need to put this in. This is going to create a bit of liquid for us. Let's see, make sure we do this nice and tidy. And what you could do, some people do this, is they put a bit of ketchup in there. I'm not going to bother. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up our seal now. So it's lined up. We're going to pop the... We are now sealed, ready to go in the microwave. So follow me across to the microwave and we're going to set ourselves up. Okay, we've now got our pressure cooker in the microwave. A couple of things that are going to be different to what we've shown you before. That is, our power is at 1250 watts. Now, the difference with the pressure cooker by Tupperware for the microwave is we can't cook above 900 watts. So let's close it up for a start. And if you could pan in now, sweetie, we're going to hit the power level and we're going to lower it down 3 notches till it's at 7. We need it cooking for, and then we do our cook time, 30 minutes, and away we go. Now we'll come back, because this has got to then come out and sit for a minute while the pressure subsides a bit. We're going to come back and cook our sauce. So let's just let that go and we'll see you in about 30 minutes with the next part of our phase. Okay, we're about to stop now. Let's have a look. Alright, here's our little package. We can hear it sizzling here. Okay, so let's put it down on the countertop. Now, the red needle there, we want to make sure this doesn't explode. So what we want to do is make sure we wait until that red needle goes down. So it's still cooking in there. So the pops down, and then that'll be our message that it's safe to open up. So we're just going to leave that sitting there, and when we come back, we're going to see how our cabbage rolls turn out. We're going to add our cream sauce. The cream sauce is ready, but we're going to tell you how we made it in just a few minutes, okay? So we'll be back shortly with our red cabbage rolls. Okay, so the pressure cooker has been sitting here for a little bit, and the pressure cooker indicator valve has now gone down, which means we're ready to open up our pressure cooker. So let's do that. We pop that and away we go. And here's the big test. Oh, looking absolutely beautiful, smelling good. Let's put that to the side and let's open up. There's our cabbage rolls. They are looking good. Now, let's get one out and put it on the plate, making sure the biggest test of all is that they've stayed together. So I'm going to let that there for a minute. Alright, let's talk about our sauce. Now I've made it previously because this is pretty easy to make. Basically, I told you before, a stick of butter. I used about an onion and a half, finely chopped. So we melted the butter, put in the onion, just let it get translucent. I then put in the tomato juice with flour, just to thicken it just a little bit. And then once it got nice and hot, I added in the cream. Now we let that really mix because we want a nice peachy colour, and that now goes on top. So you can see the colour of it, And that goes on top of our cabbage rolls. Oh, look at that. Now, the biggest test of all, so you might want to pan in now, Liz.
I am.
And let's go. We're gonna, nice and firm. These are so firm, you can see. And you can see by the colour there, the meat is cooked. The meat is cooked through and it stays together. That's the biggest test. But you know what the real big test is? I'm not going to taste it just yet. I want to. But the main important thing is to say to you guys is this has been my mate's Tupperware. We're here to be your consultants and help you out with all your Tupperware needs. You can get our details after the video. They'll be on screen as they have been throughout the video. So if you've got any questions, you've got any items you want to purchase, look us up and we will certainly get those for you. Now for the biggest point of all. Nice and firm. Even if I do say so myself, great flavour. Better than I thought. This is my first attempt at this. Liz was probably laughing that I didn't have something to wipe my face. And so anyway, look, thank you for watching My Mate's Tupperware. I'm Mark, behind the camera is Liz.
See you later.
And look for our details. We want to be your consultants and help you out with all your Tupperware needs. Bye now.